discussing and talking a little bit about during this show. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. With me I have Kate Robinson, and we'll be seeing more of her later on the show. She's a practitioner that we have in our office, and one technique that we use quite a bit is something called applied psychoneurobiology. What is that?
It's basically taking a traumatic experience or a trauma, and muscle testing to find that trauma, and then unraveling it.
Okay.
And there's many ways of doing that, and it's amazing what those little emotional traumas can do to our bodies physically.
Because a lot of people, we don't even recognize that we've been dealing with trauma. I mean, yes, if there's a big event, maybe with a car accident or loss of a loved one, but it may be even smaller things like just first day in school or something that we don't think of consciously.
Yeah, or things that happened in the womb.
Yeah.
Or things that happened to our parents or grandparents that we carry.
Yeah.
And so we use muscle testing. I use muscle testing to find, first of all, we kind of work backwards. So if, for example, someone is dealing with thyroid cancer, we can test and see if it's an emotional issue. And if it tests as emotional, then I can go in and do APN on that. And the way that kind of looks is muscle testing, a series of different things, and but kind of muscle testing down to the age in which the trauma happened. What was the trauma? Was it humiliation? Was it not having a voice? A lot of times those are things that go with thyroid.
Yeah.
And so then I can test when that happened. So when was it theirs? Number one, did it happen in their lifetime?
Yeah.
To them?
Yeah.
Or was it something that happened to a parent or a grandparent that they are caring for that parent?
Sometimes we, as a child, then we take on the burden of our parents, and we keep carrying their burden, so to say.
Yeah.
So it can be then something that has been carried then from generation to generation, and you may not even know.
Yeah, and it's really important. Sometimes we think of that as a good thing because we're helping somebody.
Yeah.
But actually, it's hindering that person from healing completely.
Yeah.
And so it's important for us to heal, to release it, but also to allow that parent or a child or a spouse or someone, whoever they're carrying it for, to heal.
Yeah.
It's like having, we all have a puzzle, and we all have pieces of that puzzle. And if someone's carrying pieces of our puzzle, we'll never have a finished, we'll never be able to finish it wholly.
Exactly.
And so we need to get those back, and as we carry those for people, we need to give them back too, and so that we can heal completely. Yes,
because we think that it's a loving thing that I'm carrying the anger of my mother, or I'm carrying her burden for that traumatic event. I'm a support system, but like you're saying, that way I'm withholding a piece that she needs in order to be able to heal. So the loving thing, then there's a technique that I know that you use to give that piece back so that the mother can heal, and also that relieves your burden.
Yeah.
So that you're not carrying that negative energy.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that you can resolve somebody else's energy.
Right.
Yeah.
And it makes us sick.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so I know you're talking about like thyroid cancer, but it can even be just hypothyroidism.
Right, anything. I went to the extreme, but
exactly.
It can be,
Yeah, so people dealing with weight loss issues, it could just be that there's something here that's triggering their thyroid, and they're not able to lose weight because of that.
Exactly.
So.
Or lung issues like asthma, holding grief.
Yeah.
And gallbladder, often people get their gallbladders removed, they don't need to.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Holding resentment, possibly, or.
Exactly, so there can be an emotion then with each organ. So, and that's something, just like later on we're going to be talking about laser energetic detox, APN is something, because we all carry stuff.
Yes.
I mean, have you seen anyone that doesn't carry any trauma? No?
No. You can,
Yeah, so we all need to go through and kind of clean, different traumas that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And but how does that function on a physiological level? I mean, you have the trauma, the thyroid, and how?
Okay, a doctor there's a doctor that did a study, Dr. Harmon, who actually studied the effects of an emotional trauma on the brain.
Yeah.
And what he saw was that when there was an emotional trauma, it activated part of the brain.
Yeah.
And that part of the brain was connected to certain organs. So if you had, if you were enraged and were very angry about something, that
Yeah.
part of the brain that would light up was part of the brain that was connected to the liver, and so it would actually constrict blood flow.
Yeah.
And so it's has a very physical reaction.
So you can just see that mind body, I mean, you can't really separate the two. You know, you think of an emotion as something very just emotional, but it has a really strong physical impact. And by doing APN, you're shifting that physical impact that emotion has.
Yeah, and then you can relieve the brain, unravel it, let it go. The body just wants us to recognize it, acknowledge it, and let it go.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll be